Welcome back to Squawk on the Street. I'm Carl Quintanilla with David Faber, Melissa Lee at the New York Stock Exchange. Market obviously trying to hold on to gains. Dow session high up 178. Did fade fairly quickly, but trying to hold. The NASDAQ once again went negative for the year. Watching Spotify as well, getting our first indications over at post 6 of 145 to 155. And going to be a long process, we're told, as they list directly here at the NYSE. We'll watch how this price discovery happens. David?
Yeah, a lot of volatility from here until we get an open, Carl. Spotify is, we just said, set to make that market debut here at some point in the not-too-distant future. Joining us now for more on the company, on streaming, on the state of the music industry is KISS lead singer and bass guitarist Gene Simmmons. He is also now the Chief Evangelist Officer of Canadian cannabis company Invictus. Nice to have you, Gene.
Good morning.
People say Spotify has helped the music industry enormously. Sales are actually back up for the first time in more than a decade because people are streaming and there are at least some royalties starting to go to artists. Do you see it as a good thing?
Well, look, it's smoke and mirrors. The reality is, and by the way, Spotify's a terrific company. Management is solid. The financials, it's worth $25 billion or so. The Swedes figured it out. But legislation is archaic and prehistoric. New artists are getting slaughtered because they're getting micro pennies out of $1, which is why, in the interest of full disclosure and as a matter of public record, a short time ago, the estates of Neil Young and Tom Petty and, lots of other, The Doors, sued Spotify for $1.2 billion, something like that, because in their opinion, they weren't getting paid what they should be doing. Now, remember, the idea of streaming and technology is wonderful. We all want to push buttons and get everything instant gratification. But without artists, music, and performers, you're streaming air. So there's a big smoke and, the music industry is healthy and happy. That's not true. That's why record companies are folding from within, because people have stopped paying for music, and you will get what you pay for.
Yeah, well, I mean, I pay $14.99 for my family to have a subscription to Spotify, but my understanding is a lot of that does get paid to the labels, Gene. I mean, is your problem with Spotify itself, or the labels haven't negotiated a good enough deal with Spotify?
Well, labels, of course, see the large shadow of streaming. I'm aware that Universal and other labels also invested in Spotify. My question is not labels, because they make nothing. That's the truck that delivers the goods. The farmer that makes the fruit and the produce that goes to the market. Without produce and fruit, you got nothing. So the artists are the ones that are getting shortchanged. Everybody's subscribing to Spotify, and that's great, and Amazon and all, and YouTube and all. That's great. And ad revenue, and the labels are negotiating, blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, the artists have gotten the rug pulled out from under them, and I'm shocked. I'm shocked that legislators in Washington, D.C. haven't taken the entire industry to task and basically said, wait a minute, you put one of my songs on the air, where's my slice of the pie? Record companies are making a deal, Spotify's doing fine. And by the way, none of this has anything to do right here, right now, with where the market is at 23,000. Look, I rang the New York Stock Exchange bell for the first time, 2008. The Dow then was under 8,000. We're now 10 years on, and the Dow's... Well, thank you. Did you notice how good looking I was there? So now the Dow is at 23,600, 700. This is a good time to buy. The Dow, everybody's going, oh, woe is me, the Dow is down. You either believe it's going to go up or not. I think it's going to...
Are you buying now, Gene? Are you buying? Did you buy the dip?
Are you talking about Spotify specifically?
No, Spotify and stocks in general.
I buy stuff all the time, but I also sell stuff. I'm not a short guy. I believe in Warren Buffett's ethos of buy what you know, stay the long haul, because the Dow will go up. In my lifetime, the Dow is going to break 30,000. It might happen in under 10 years. It might happen in 5 years. Economies are improving around the world. We're all getting smarter. China and America and Russia are deciding, look, we have our differences and stuff, but at the end of the day, the dollar rules. Everybody wants to make a buck, and that's more important than politics and war. There won't be another war. All Kim and North Korea cares about is that you're not going to remove him from power.
Gene,
he just wants his billions. Yes.
Let me pull you back to Spotify before we get into geopolitics. Because a big part of Spotify's pitch is about timed exclusives and albums with video components that you can't get anywhere else. So when Kiss has something special to offer, how do you decide whether to go through Spotify or Apple or Amazon or someplace else?
Well, we're very fortunate because we have something like 13 million Kiss fans on Facebook and all that. So we have a very, very dedicated following. So we have lots of options. The problem is new bands have almost no options. So they give away their music for free and they hope to make it. It's really, really a sad thing for new artists. And, you know, my heart goes out to them. In terms of Spotify, I was a little surprised that the selling price, it's hovering around, I don't know, 140. It might even go to 150. I thought it was going to be lower than 132 or so that people. So I'm being very cautious. I'm interested in buying stuff that I may not necessarily use. The stock may go up. Look, I don't like that Spotify isn't doing the showboat stuff of going to the New York Stock Exchange the way the powerful and attractive Gene Simmmons did in 2008 and take that photo. People want to do that. But management at Spotify seems to have another point of view, which is just go direct listing and see what happens. And that's their point of view, and they're welcome to it. I like show business. I like doing it and say, ta-da.
Yeah, well, we know that. I mean, you are Gene Simmmons. Kiss, for God's sakes. I want to come back to this issue, Gene. We had an artist with us yesterday also. The argument, of course, that the artists are not being fairly compensated for their work. I'm just trying to understand, though, how that would look. I mean, you've got these platforms that are out there, whether it be Apple or Spotify or any of the others out there. They're the ones who distribute the music now. It would seem to me it's at least better than people stealing your music, which went on for years, certainly when we had Napster and the like. What would a system look like that you think would be fair to the artists?
Good fences make good neighbors. Legislators aren't qualified to pass laws. They have no idea what a song is, what publishing royalty is, what sync fees are, and all this kind of stuff. So as an artist yourself, because I know you sing in the shower, one of your wonderful shower songs, you own it, you copyright it. It's your creation. And you think it should be worth, and the industry thinks it should be worth, I don't know, 10 cents, 50 cents, $1, whatever you agree on. And in the old days, you bought one song for 79 to $1.50. One song. On the other side, you'd get a B-side. And the record industries were thriving. Artists were producing things like the Beatles and Elvis and Jimi Hendrix and the Rolling Stones. Yeah, maybe even Kiss. Today, name the new Beatles. There ain't nothing going on because there's no there's no integrity to that basement and the first floor. It's just the Wild West. Spotify's getting rich, and God bless them for it. Record companies are making money. Where's the money for the people that make it all possible? The artists. I'm not talking about me. I'm a rich son of a bee and all that stuff. I'm talking about new artists. There's going to be no Beatles, no Rolling Stones, nothing, because they won't be able to quit their day job to devote full time to the art. So I don't buy this smoke and mirrors argument. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't buy Spotify. I'm being cautious personally. Initially, because I know the financials of the company, I think the management is solid. I'm surprised a little bit that, I think the original investors in the company are deciding where the price should be, and maybe they're taking the long haul. I know management is thinking, we don't need to show 30%. Let's just kind of go in there quietly and, have it do this instead of just shoot up. That's an interesting point of view.
Can end up being a good strategy. Gene, before we let you go, I do want to ask you about your new position at Invictus. You're the Chief Evangelist Officer. Explain what that means.
Invictus is a Canadian cannabis company. It's legal there. I'm a straight guy. I've never had a joint in my hand, never put anything up my nose. That's my philosophy. It's strictly a financial play for me. So they hired me, and full disclosure, I got paid $2.5 million, and I'm proud to say I have $10 million in stock in the company. I'm bullish on Invictus. In fact, I rang the bell at the Toronto Stock Exchange a few days ago, and, the laws are changing around the world. I urge everybody to do their own research and find out what scientists and doctors are saying about cannabis, I was shocked. So I'm not here to tug on anybody's shirt sleeves to try to convince them it's good for you, it's bad for you, it's cool for society. You figure it out. But me, even though I don't personally use, I'm in it full time because I believe in the idea. Invictus-MD.com, by the way.
All right. You never smoked pot ever? Really?
I've never been high or drunk knowingly in my life, no.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's news too. Gene, thank you for all your insight this morning. We appreciate it. Gene Simmmons.